7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Viva Las Vegas! It's race 2 of the Tricia's Learning Center Gen 6 series from Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Topless in Vegas 150, presented by Rob Higgs. Good evening, everyone. I am Joshua King. Last week, we saw Dylan Canova avoid the carnage and chaos to claim the first win of the season at Daytona. Tonight is a different beast. Las Vegas is more technical, and tire saving will be crucial. Quite the opposite from last week. We will talk to a couple of these drivers here momentarily, see how they feel not only about this race this evening, but also the race last week at Daytona, how they potentially got their season started, and how they feel about that. You'll see your track info there on your screen. And 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 45% humidity. Pretty humid for Las Vegas. It is clear and low winds. And the track temp, 117 degrees Fahrenheit. Track length, just a tad over a mile and a half. So this will be 150 miles and 100 laps. So this is going to be a good one. Let's go here track side, see if we can't get a word with the man himself. Right there on the screen is the 14 of Rob Hicks Jr. The great picture. He's out of Baltimore, Maryland, in that mid-tier racing Ford Mustang. Gonna get with him here right now. Rob Higgs Jr., this is Joshua up in the booth. You got a copy, bud?
Hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, man? Quite the intro there for you, but wanted to talk to you briefly. We know you're sponsoring this race. Appreciate you doing that. Just one of those things you wanted to do, or wanted to get someone's name out there or anything like that?
Nah, just something I wanted to do. I figured since I was the topless racer, I might as well be topless in Vegas.
Perfect spot for it, for sure. Talk to us a little bit about race 1 for you. How do you feel after the Daytona race, and what's your plan going into this evening to get on track?
After last week, it was a little rough. Had a good placement near the end, just things didn't pan out. This week, with the way the cars are feeling, it's just try to keep the air off the front, keep the car clean. It feels good, but it's definitely a little tight in the corners in the draft.
For sure, and I mentioned in the intro here the tire wear being obviously significantly different from Daytona. Do you come in tonight with a strategy to save tires throughout the race already, or is that kind of something you're just going to play with and figure out as we go along here?
Based on what I figured out, it's not much you can play with because the car setup is set up real well to lean on the rears. It's just going to be whether or not you can handle the fall off of them.
Right on, man. Yeah, we've seen in our past races, a lot of people have a tricky time out of turn 4, so we'll see if that keeps up and see what the strategy plays out to be here across these 100 laps. Before we let you go get back to work, sir, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out this evening?
Just Mr. Jeremy Gill and Mid-Tier Racing for giving me the opportunity to race with them boys over there.
Right on, man. Well, best of luck to you tonight, Rob. Pleasure talking to you. I know we haven't really talked to you all that much, but always good to kind of grab different people and get to discuss with them and give them some quote-unquote screen time. But go ahead and get back to practice.
Well, I appreciate it, boss.
Of course, man. Maybe we'll be talking to you after the race, sir, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Once again, folks, that was the driver of the 14 that you see on your screen, Rob Higgs Jr. in the Topless in Vegas 150. He is the sponsor of this race. We're going to attempt to get a word with this guy again in the 59 red, white, and blue machine of Jim Thorndike. Let's pull him from his Coco E Motorsports team chat and see what he thinks about last week and going into this week. Jim, this is Joshua. You got a copy? Jim, can you hear me, sir? Jim Thorndike going once, going twice.
Hello.
Oh, there he is. Jim, we tried to talk to you last week. Good to get you in here. I was just about to send you back again. But Jim, wanted to talk to you a little bit briefly about last season. You came up just short of the playoffs. Of course, congrats on winning the Royalty Motorsports on the Brink Award. That's cool to still get that accomplishment on the season. But ultimately, it had to feel like you came up just short. You made the round of 7 in the first season. What's your plan this year to kind of have a bounce back?
Well, I'm just going to try and be a little more consistent and try and miss wrecks so that I can finish in the top 5 week in and week out and just see if consistency can hold true and if I can steal a win or two.
Yeah, and I mean, you're always running up there in the front at some point during every race. It seems like battling hard, competing hard. They took away the fast repair late last season. Ultimately, you mentioned the ability to miss some wrecks, right? That takes some skill and it takes some luck. Now, do you feel, in your opinion, that taking away that fast repair has changed the aggressiveness or overall quality of the races on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I do. I think it's more prominent on different tracks than it is on other tracks. Like if you at Daytona, if you get wrecked out, your race is pretty much done because it takes so long to fix the cars. But on a shorter track, there's a chance for more yellows to come out, so you got more opportunity to get your car fixed and get back out there and still gain some quality points.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jim. And just like we saw in the actual NASCAR race this last weekend, you never give up, right? Because McDowell was 6 laps down in the garage early, came back out, rallied to finish 13th. So really cool story there and a lot of inspiration for anybody that maybe involved in an early crash, or you never know. We saw Latham Joyner get back out there last week and unfortunately find more trouble. But like I say, luck and skill come into play to missing the wrecks. But before we let you get back to work, sir, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out this evening?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to DeKalb Sycamore Buick GMC Cadillac. If you're looking for a new car or a used car, come see us. Also like to give a shout out to our military. They do a great job to keep us safe so we can do this week in and week out. I'd like to thank Cornwall Tools for coming on board this season. They provide quality tools, and if you're looking to change careers to be a tool guy, let me know. I can hook you up. And always, thanks to you, Josh, for doing a great broadcast.
Right on, man. I appreciate that, and appreciate the shout out to the troops and all of that as well. That's always cool. So appreciate you talking to me. I'm glad we actually got you in here this week, and good luck this evening. Maybe we'll be talking to you after the race.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, and I hope so too.
Yeah, have a good night, sir. Once again, folks, that was the driver, the number 59, Jim Thorndike, right there on your screen. Cucco E-Motorsports driver. And I mentioned a while ago with Jim there that taking away the fast repair, what his thoughts were on it. I think that it was a great move because it's allowed some adversity at the top of the board a lot of times, and it's also allowed for some more excitement, in my opinion. Perfect example, Latham Joyner dominated a lot of last season, and he'll get his victories this year, no doubt about that. But we saw him find 2 issues last week, no fault of his own either time, and it set him back now in a different structure to where now he's going to be pressing just a little bit harder. And if that compounds, I'm not wishing anything on Latham by any means, but if that compounds into more issues, we could potentially see some upsets throughout the field and throughout the season. But it's a good change overall. Marty White in the chat says, sorry in advance for my paint. Oh boy, what are we going to be looking at here? Let's take a look at the 69 of Marty White. Looks basically like Rob Higgs Jr. paint. Let's go to the driver cam. Rob Higgs is my dad. I'm not even going to ask those questions. But definitely no reason to apologize here, Marty. Awesome paint, a lot of fun. It's cool to see. I like on the roof there. It says, sorry, what does it say there? Sorry, Josh, if this is confusing. Well, I didn't go to college, but I don't think it would take a degree to figure this one out. So, nice looking paint there, and we won't have a problem finding the 69 of Marty White or the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. tonight as he races along with the 11 of Kenny Cucco. That's a nice looking paint on there. Kenny Cucco, PGHA Designs, Kenny Cucco E-Motorsports. So, and he gets into, all right, not the best time maybe to look at Marty White and Cucco there at the end, but practice is official. Now this week we are back to our regular qualifying structure. Last week, of course, was Daytona, and they had done the duels prior to the actual race last Tuesday. So we're going to go qualifying here, and in the right corner of your screen, folks, you'll see the miles per hour that these drivers are doing around Las Vegas. Kenny Cucco is out on track. Jorge Ledesma Jr. in the 44 is out on track. That looks like a new paint for the 44 of Jorge Ledesma Jr. Revved Up Racing Ford Mustang 44. Got some red chrome, it would appear, on that thing. Let's go around here. The Snap-on Tools number 4 of Jeremy Gill back with us. Had a heck of a race last week until a bit of a snafu on the final restart, or second to final restart, I should say. Here's the 03 of Nick Raffini making his way out. Shane Wheeldon in the 83. That's a new paint job on the 83. That's a Royalty Motorsports PGHA Designs Toyota. I like that paint. The purple and yellow go really, really well together. No, I'm not biased. Just a nice looking paint. Christian Proctor is the first one to put in a time. He's at the top of the board, 30.85. Quickly passed by Jeremy Gill in the 4, 30.74 for Gill on lap 1. All these guys putting in lap 1 right now. Proctor still sits second quick, 30.85 for lap 1. He comes around for lap 2. Let's see if he can take it back from Gill. And no, sir. Latham Joyner to the top of the board. No surprise there, 30.71 for Joyner. Good lap for Latham. I'd have to assume trying to stay out front tonight, avoid any trouble. Timothy Presley in the Black Rifle Coffee Company Ford Mustang there on your screen. He sits third quick. Really nice time for Presley. And I can't say it enough. The improvement in Timothy Presley that I've been able to witness, and that these other drivers, competitors of his that have been able to witness it, geez, get the words out, has been incredible. It's been very, very refreshing. Good to see. Nice job by Presley. Jim Thorndike in the 59. He's off track. He is fourth quick right now. Shane Wheeldon, second lap, jumped up to fifth quick. J.D. Van Kirk still out there. He is seventh quick. Dylan Canova in the 70 just took third quick away from Presley. There's your winner last week, the 70 of Dylan Canova. If you haven't seen that race from last week, I recommend going to watch it. I know I just gave you a spoiler, but kind of fits the bill for what we're doing here. So we take a good look at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the party zone there right in the middle. Very cool racetrack, and as soon as this grid comes out, we'll have it for you. Daniel King Gaming, love the last name. If that is your last name, we share it. Let's go, Tim. Timothy is a legend. He's starting to build his legend here, bud. That's for sure. Doing a good job. Nearly had a top 5 last week and competed for the win, or competed for the lead, I should say, the majority of the race. They're having their brief drivers meeting now. And once that finishes, we'll get the starting grid for you. 18 cars going to make the start tonight, it would appear. That was a really quick qualifying, I think. Felt quick to me. Not quite sure. But it definitely felt very fast. We know who Daniel's rooting for here. And thank you for being in there. And we know Marty is getting ready to race and probably rooting for himself or one of his teammates. Saw the checkered flag wave. That means qualifying officially ended. Everyone did go out there and get their laps in fairly quickly. Feel free to chat, folks. I will acknowledge you as I can. Pick who you're going with for this race. I want to see your votes. It might help a little bit once you see the grid. You know, if you're going to pick someone up front. Topless in Vegas 150, brought to you by Rob Higgs Jr. What a perfect name for a race in Las Vegas. You know, a lot of it, you come out here, you want to compete. There is a level of seriousness to it, of course, and of course, competitiveness that gets the blood going, but ultimately you want to have some fun with it and be creative, you know, and make it a good time for everybody. So I think it will be a good race, Daniel. I agree. All right, Daniel King is my real name. Right on, man. Joshua King here, bud. So I like you already. Here's someone going crazy out there. Hope everyone is having a good Tuesday, and we're fixing to have an even better Tuesday evening here with the top tier Tricia's Learning Center Gen 6 series. Last week's race was a barn burner, as it always is at Daytona. Came down to the final lap and a wild wreck near the end. Of course, I mentioned it just a bit ago. If you're just joining us, Dylan Canova in the 70 got the win in that one. Started his season off the right way. One thing we will talk about briefly here is that there's no lock in and you're in. That's a different change. They're doing more of a chase point structure this season. We'll talk about that a little bit more later in the broadcast, but no win and you're in. I was misinformed last week. That is my fault. But here's your starting grid. The three of Latham Joyner will start on the pole. Jeremy Gill, man, he killed qualifying. In the 4 car, he'll start to Latham's outside, second. Dylan Canova in the 70 will start third. Timothy Presley in the 30 will roll off fourth. Jim Thorndike in the 59 will start fifth. Shane Wheeldon in the 83 will start sixth. J.D. Van Kirk in the 22 will roll off seventh. Jacob Wilson in the 51 will start eighth. Rob Higgs Jr. in the 14 will start ninth. Drafty Beef in the 2 car will round out our top 10. And Christian Proctor in the 13, MTR Misfits teammate there. That's a new team this season. He'll start 11th. Nick Raffini in the 03 will roll off 12th. Onward we go. Potentially, yes. Kenny Coco in the 13 or in the 11 will start 13th. Jorge Ledesma Jr. in the 44 will roll off 14th. Robbie Miner in the 53 will start 15th. Kelly Akron in the 19 starting 16th. And your final row, Zach White in the 77 will roll off 17th. And Marty White in the 69 will start 18th. No relation there. Let's take a look up front now as they get ready to go green here for our first start in 100 laps. Tony Dominguez, welcome in. Yeah, burnt out in the pits. But coincidentally, I couldn't find him. I could see him on my timing screen, my fancy info there, but I could not view him, we will say. And let's go up to the starter cam as Barney will wave the green flag for the first time tonight. And we'll take a listen to these cars around Las Vegas Motor Speedway for lap 1. Lap 1 is in the books, and Dylan Canova led lap 1 last week, and he'll lead lap 1 this week. If it has a similar result at the finish, he will definitely be happy. You see the field already starting to fan out. 3 lanes in some places. Canova holding strong. Jeremy Gill has now made a move on the inside of Latham Joyner. We've seen Joyner go back a little bit early in races, strictly to preserve the tires. Of course, he does fight back and hold off Jeremy Gill for now. Jim Thorndike in the 59 is up to 4th. Presley has fell in line to 5th. Top 5 single file now. Latham Joyner, though, taking a look on the inside just a bit on Canova. And he is there. Oh, man. Whew. That got close. Joyner all the way below the line. That's perfectly legal here, folks, in Las Vegas. And the leaders earlier side by side out of turn 2, but Canova drives off. Oh, as the 59 at Thorndike is around.
Bud, why don't you give me status on your car there?
Brings out our first caution tonight. Take a brief look at it. Not that there's really too much to dissect there. Presley came up. Oh, man, look at that net code. Holy smokes. Unfortunate. I mean, that's 2-3 foot of net code right there. Good driving, though, by the 59 of Thorndike to keep that thing off the wall with any heavy damage, and he'll definitely just get it back rolling, look to move to the front as he's already filing in line there. Dylan Canova had the lead at the time of the yellow flag. Latham Joyner, Jeremy Gill, Timothy Presley, Rob Higgs Jr., your top 5 when they get them going again. Kenny Cucko already on pit road. Jim Thorndike, I assumed, would be down. No harm, no foul for Thorndike to at least check on the damage. Unusual to see Cucko in so early. And again, he was near the back of the field, so again, not much an issue. Maybe just fuel there, not quite sure. 6 through 10 looks like this after caution number 1. J.D. Van Kirk sits 6th. Jacob Wilson in that 51 will roll off 7th on the restart. Christian Proctor already making moves in that 13. He's going to roll off 8th, and Shane Wheeldon down 3 spots early is sitting 9th. Drafty Beef is right where he started in 10th. That could be something for Wheeldon as well, similar to Joyner, where he kind of, was threatened by 2 early losses, or position losses rather, just saving tires. We're not quite sure. Obviously, we're not in these guys' heads, but there's the 2 of Drafty Beef showing up correctly on the screen this week. Royalty Motorsports, Royalty Racing Network, and PGHA Designs. Chevy Camaro for Drafty Beef. Had some problems with the paint job last week. Got it figured out now. There's a good shot up close. The 70 of Canova. There's might be a better camera here all the way around. Jim Thorndike back out on track on the lead lap. Good to see that. He did spend 28, nearly 29 seconds in pits, so a little damage there. Nothing big to report. Kenny Cucko must have been fuel only. 7-second pit stop there. Early fuel stop for the 11 machine of Cucko. That's a really nice shot there. Get them all lined up. Pace lights are off on the pace car, which means we will go green this next time by. After 7 laps, anyone changing their pick? Of course, I only got 2 picks. I want to hear your picks. Give them to me. Pace car will dive off and the field will approach the Geico restart zone that you see on the wall on the outside, and Dylan Canova will lead us back green as he fires, and Joyner immediately gets to that inside lower lane. Presley and Gill stay side by side as Gill blinks just a little. He's still there though. Rob Higgs Jr. already up 4. Going to be an issue if Gill keeps blinking though. We'll see what the communication is there. Rob Higgs Jr. right up on the back bumper of the number 4. He's already up 4. I mentioned that just a moment ago. Jacob Wilson is double file with the 22 of J.D. Van Kirk behind them, followed by the 13 and 83 of Wielden and Proctor. Double file all the way through the field early. The 03 of Raffini battles Drafty Beef on the inside. Then they get just a little bit spread out, but not much. Kelly Akron there, sitting 13th. Single file for now, but he's got a lot of takers and a lot of pressure behind him. Canova still continues to lead. Out to a nice lead now. Presley pressuring Joyner on the outside, and they bump doors. Not sure if there was any intent there or not, but now they are single file back to the 51 of Wilson until he elects to go to the inside on the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. Jeremy Gill since the restart, -4 spots. Probably, oh, hold it together, Presley, no! Oh, no, and caution number 2. Hard damage, it would appear, for the 4 of Gill. Least on the rear end of that machine, you can see there on your screen. Let's take a look at it. We saw Christian Proctor. He's straight now, but it appears like maybe, I'm speculating, but just maybe when he gets up off that apron, he got loose, tried to save it, and it jerked back on him to the right in front of the field. Oh, he got tapped by the 44. But where was Gill? Maybe just a connection thing and he blinked out possibly? Oh, it was the 30. I'm sorry. I'm focused on the 13. Yes, okay. Let's get this back just a little bit here. Calling out the wrong numbers here, folks, like amateur hour. Watch the 30. He gets loose, like I said, when he comes up off that apron. Tries to save it. It shoots right, saves it again. Taps the 4, 22 of Van Kirk involved. Proctor and Jorge Ledesma Jr. simply products of wreck avoidance there, unfortunately, but I think the 44 will be okay. There's Gill back out already. That's good. Presley's in, of course. Shane Wielden in now. Jim Thorndike in probably to fix more damage from incident number 1. And, of course, Proctor is in. Jeremy Gill. We took a look at him making his way back out. And now he's back in. Still a lot of damage on the 4 car of Jeremy Gill, but 2 early cautions, which is really rare in the top tier racing series as a whole. They've had some issues at one short track named Martinsville, Nightmare Track. Might be slightly biased about that, but otherwise, a lot of really clean racing. Tony Dominguez in chat says RMS. If you're new to the program, that means Royalty Motorsports, folks. It's rooting for one of the 4 drivers in Royalty Motorsports. Jorge Ledesma Jr., let's take a quick look at him. He's your biggest mover so far. Not a whole lot of damage there on the 44, and avoiding that last incident. So good job by Ledesma Jr. Being scored 5th right now. I think is going to restart 6th, though. He was just a tad bit in front of the 22 of Vankirk there on the inside lane. Everyone out of pits now, and Shane Wheeldon must have had some damage. Let's take a look at that 83 briefly. Looks nice and clean now. 42-second pit stop. Presley had a 52-second stop, so damage there. Proctor, very short stop. And Gill, 2 stops of about 30 seconds apiece. Drivers will do that to prevent going a lap down. And it's easier to do at these somewhat larger tracks than at what's considered a short track. Hey, Derek, 2 early cautions, unusual here for this series, but they're going to get it back going. Everything will be all right. Everyone's still in the race. Everyone's still on the lead lap. Dylan Canova leads us back to green. He's led every lap so far. And he's off. Our 3rd start of the race already after working caution number 2. Just 15 laps in now. Due to the 2 cautions, they go single file quickly once again up front. Single file all the way back to Jorge Ledesma Jr., who's working, or battling, I should say, with the 2 of Drafty Beef. Beef is on the inside. Nice clean racing, the 19 of Akron and the 69 of Marty White battling behind them. You can see both of those fights on your screen here. Marty White has the slight advantage for the 8th spot for now, but Akron, oh, he touched that apron just slightly. Good driving, though. Kept it down there. The 2 and the 44 continue to battle, but the 44 prevails for now. Let's take a look at the battle behind him as Akron still now looking to the inside. But he's got company on the outside in Nick Raffini in the 03. Raffini holds the 9th spot as they cross the line. Akron battles back on the inside. Back behind them, Kenny Kucko and Jim Thorndike. Those are Kucko eMotorsports teammates. They're side by side. Then it cools off. Robbie Miner in the 53. Oh, he peaked 3 wide. Thought it was going to get awfully interesting as someone blinked there. Little smoke, no incident. Miner in 77 of Zach White. Proctor already making his way up through the field. They were temporarily 3 wide back here in the back. All these guys started up front. Now having problems, more problems for Presley in the 30 as he scrubs the wall. The battle for the lead heats up just a bit as the 3 of Latham Joyner looks to the inside on Dylan Canova. They nearly touch. There's Canova, comes down on Latham Joyner. Might have been a squeeze job. And now the 14 and Rob Higgs Jr. takes advantage. He gets by Canova for second. J.D. Vankirk looking to fancy a chance on the 70 as well. There's no way the 70 could have burned up his tires already. We barely had any green flag laps. Jacob Wilson looks now to the outside of the 22 of Vankirk. This battle for the 4th spot. Of course, Wilson doesn't necessarily have anywhere to go. He's got the 70 right in front of him. Good runs off the corner, but the 70 certainly slower than what we've seen the first 16 or 17 laps or so as Joyner expands the lead to 2/10 on Higgs. Jorge Ledesma Jr. now switched roles with the two of Drafty Beef. He's on the inside versus the outside. Looks like this time the two car will get that pass done. Good patience and maneuvering by the two of Beef. Had an opportunity for a top 5 last week and was in a late incident. Good battle right here for 9th through 11th. 4-car battle as Cucko blinks. He's getting new internet, folks. So hopefully that's going to be a thing in the past sooner than later. No one hopes that more than Cucko. Jim Thorndike keeps it for now. Fights off all takers for the 8th spot. We saw a little bit of smoke in front of him. No incident. J.D. Van Kirk, this battle heating up now. Also a 4-car battle. He's on the outside of Jacob Wilson. Dives in. He's kind of diamonding the corner. Just a bit. We'll see how that fares on the tires. Van Kirk is one of the best at saving tires. He's now into the top 5. Jacob Wilson falls back behind him. Single file now till this battle right behind him. That's Ledesma Jr. being pressured by Proctor. Already made it halfway up through the field already after that incident. The two of Beef is right on the tail of the 59 of Thorndike. Proctor looks to the inside of Beef and he's just going to let him go as Beef is way up the track. Probably a tire consumption and they know Proctor is mad fast right now. Proctor restarted this race in 17th place, folks. He's already up to 6th again. Now he'll look to the inside of Jacob Wilson. We'll take a look at the lead momentarily, but it's kind of cooled off just a little bit. Canova did get around Higgs, but no changes otherwise. Joyner continues to lead. No stages now. Not that they had yellow flag stages last season, but no stage at all. Not that it mattered much. I typically forgot to call out the stage winners anyways. Hard to do under green flag conditions now. All single file back to Cucko and Jorge Ledesma Jr. Cucko gets around Ledesma Jr. on the outside and sets his sights on the 03 of Nick Ruffini. Shane Wheeldon, we saw him down pit road long-term last caution. He's picked up 2. Timothy Presley is 7 laps down. Issues for Presley this week. But you never know, you never give up. Zach White in the 77 taking a look to the inside of the 53 of Robbie Minor. He'll get that move done. That move is for 14th. Back up front, Latham Joyner continues to lead the way. Now expanded his lead to 3 to 4/10 on the 70 of Canova, who you see trailing him there on your screen. Rob Higgs Jr. quite a ways back now, about a second and 2/10 to Canova. Battling behind him continues though. The 51 looking to the inside of Van Kirk. Van Kirk is just very quick on that outside lane. Be careful down there on the apron, boys. It's where we saw our second caution occur. Christian Proctor already passed the 51, and now he's going to try a move on the 22. 22 comes up in front of him. Good patience by the 13 of Proctor. He's committed to the top line. Why not? It's working for him. have to believe Proctor felt pretty darn good coming in. Maybe didn't quite have as strong of a qualifying as he wanted. He's up 7 spots from where he started, meaning he started 11th. I mean, that's middle of the field, nothing wrong with that, but so he's up 7 total, but up 13 since the second restart. He's moving. Now he's going to look on Rob Higgs Jr. The only concern here to think about with the 13 of Proctor is if he's saving tires or kind of betting on a caution here once he makes his way back up to the front of the field. Good 5 or 6 car battle going on here. Kucko's continuing to move up through the field. Jacob Wilson might have issues. He's falling back. Drafty Beef has fell back now as he's back to 10th where he started, but he is battling with the 51 of Wilson, who's now down 2 from where he started. Kucko up 5 spots, and he's got Thorndike and Van Kirk right there in front of him, side by side. He's going to have to be patient. Van Kirk going to let him go. Now he'll dip to the inside on the 59, his teammate there. He'll get around them. Now he'll go back outside. Slide job of some sorts on the 59. 59 tried a crossover move. Not a good enough run is now the 14 of Raffini. I'm sorry, the 03 of Raffini battles the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. Very good racing here. Good racing throughout the whole field with the exception of the lead. Nick Raffini now getting passed by Kenny Kucko, continuing to move up spots. He's on a mission. Have to believe he didn't have the kind of qualifying effort he was hoping for. He certainly didn't have the qualifying effort we expect out of that 11. Drafty Beef now moved up 2 again. He's up to 8th now on the outside of Van Kirk. On the outside of Thorndike. This is where now 35 laps in, folks, we're going to start seeing the tire fall off play an impact here for a lot of these guys. If they ran it way too hard early to try to either get up front or stay up front, that could be a big factor. We could be seeing that now with guys like Jacob Wilson in the 51. 59 of Jim Thorndike, he's down 4. Jeremy Gill hanging tough. He's not down 11 due to tire saving. He was wrapped up in that early caution. Your leader is still Joyner. No pressure at all up front. Keep it right here mid-pack. Nearly 3 wide behind him. Jorge Ledesma Jr. still right there in that battle. No, something must have happened. Something must have happened to the 2 of Drafty Beef. Speaking in puzzles here. So Beef is in. Not sure quite what happened to him. We're still green flag racing. No, not quite time to go look at it now. If it had brought something up here on my screen, I certainly would have. Latham Joyner leads. Jim Thorndike still battling hard back here. The 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. there. Thorndike battling with the 51 of Jacob Wilson. Man, what a great race from 6th through 10th. First 38 laps, all green flags, or all green flag laps out of the first 38 have been phenomenal from this group right here. Oh, now we see Ledesma Jr. get into the 22. He saves it. Good driving there. J.D. Van Kirk fights it off for now, but Ledesma Jr. did not lose a ton of momentum. Now all single file. This is the calmest we've seen this battle basically all night, as now the 59 of Thorndike temporarily looks to the inside of the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. He'll be there. Whoa! That was close. Rob Higgs Jr. got loose. He'll lose at least 3 positions. Jacob Wilson going to go by. Jorge Ledesma Jr. Tough break there. Got stuck behind the 14. Wilson doesn't have enough tire to drive by the 14 on the inside. They'll have to settle back in. Jim Thorndike passed several people there and got back up to just -1 on the evening, currently sitting 6th. Now Jorge Ledesma, they're 3 wide. Jorge's on top, keep it out of the wall. He had it for just a second. I thought he was going to get it done. They all keep it clean and green. Jorge is quicker than these guys, it would appear. Oh my goodness. Pushing it through the middle. Good move, Jorge. Good driving by all 3 of these guys. Now he's getting pressured by the 14. He should have some leeway here after this corner, though. It's ultimately what he wanted. He was much quicker. Had to be patient. Drafty Beef just had some sort of issue. He was running 8th. And I don't know if he got into the wall or what, but now he's back in 17th. 2 laps down. And I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of cautions. Unfortunately for those guys laps down, 1 or 2 of them would get them back in the race. But Derek, as we've talked about it before, just because it's a green flag race doesn't mean it's a good race. And I don't know how much excitement we're fixing to have up front, but we'll definitely keep it right here. Shane Wheeldon working a bit on Jeremy Gill. Wheeldon started up front, got involved, I think, in some sort of caution and hasn't been able to recover too many spots because we haven't had another caution. All battles on the speedway now have definitely cooled off, this one being the closest. Jorge Ledesma Jr. and Jacob Wilson for the 8th spot. While they're still under green and battles have cooled off, we're going to take a brief minute to hear a word from a couple of our sponsors here at Royalty Racing Network. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Of course, you saw all the action in the Royalty Racing Network picture-in-picture view for the commercial break. Nicely done added feature there by our very own Drafty Beef. Some good racing going right here. Nick Raffini trying to hold off J.D. Van Kirk. This is for the 5 spot here, as we have seen some cars now come down pit road for green flag pit stops. Robbie Miner, Kelly Akron, and Marty White all were in. Being scored 2 laps down now. Most of them will probably get that back as soon as the leaders pit. But I know all 4 of them are hoping that they have to pit under green. And then a caution once they get back on the lead lap, kind of tighten this thing up again. Kenny Kuko being pressured by Christian Proctor in that 13, who continues to move up the field. Kuko now in 3rd, up 10 spots from where he started. That's more typical of Kenny Kuko to run 3rd. Christian Proctor running 4th. Taking a look to the inside on Kenny Kuko. Will he squeeze it in there? Not quite. Old tires by now for all of these guys, except for the 3 I had mentioned just pitted, and probably Drafty Beef has some decent tires. Timothy Presley on pit road. He's 8 laps down. Jacob Wilson now making his way down pit road in the 51. Once the majority of the field goes, we'll give that to you, but some good battles right now on the speedway. As Kuko and Proctor get chased down by the 53 of Robbie Miner, who is, Kuko's blinking, who is currently 2 laps down, but much fresher tires. Now Jorge Ledesma Jr. is in. Jacob Wilson making his way off pit road. Latham Joyner continues to lead. Canova led about the first 17 or 18. Latham Joyner's led the rest. Now, speaking of Canova, he's down pit road along with 13 of Proctor. Good run. Green flag run for Christian Proctor. Got to shout him out for that. J.D. Van Kirk in the 22 is in. Now the majority of the field in. Zach White is in. Shane Wielden, Jeremy Gill, Jorge Ledesma Jr. I had already mentioned. Canova, as you see him just now hitting his pit box, missing it. In fact, that might cost him a little time. Now Latham Joyner electing to bring it in. He was our leader. That's going to turn over the lead temporarily to Kenny Kuko. Someone else led a lap tonight besides Joyner or Canova. What a shock. Jim Thorndike currently runs 2nd. Rob Higgs Jr. still on the track, currently running 3rd. He hasn't been into pit at all yet, folks. Keep in mind, we had 2 early cautions. A lot of guys elected to just come down for a squirt of fuel on one of those cautions, but not Rob Higgs Jr. Bleeding it dry out there is now on cue. The 14 pulls her into pit road. He's the last one to pit besides Kenny Kuko now, who did pit on lap 5. But in this green flag cycle, him and Jim Thorndike have not yet pit, which is why the majority of the field is showing a lap down right at the moment. And all of them, with the exception of Joyner, is praying right now, please don't let there be a caution. And why do I say Joyner's the only one? He's technically the last or the first car a lap down. If there was a caution right now, he would get the lucky dog, and the rest of the field would be in not a good way. We'll put it that way. watching Kenny Kuko lead the way for now. Waiting to see when he might come down pit road. Jim Thorndike, his teammate, still out there. Running in second. Every lead lap matters. In this structure, you get a point for a lead lap, and after the way it started for Kuko Motorsports last week, they wanted to be strong here tonight. Not that I had any doubt that they would be. Take a look at kind of a battle, Nick Raffini and Jorge Ledesma Jr. This is for the 8th spot, despite them being a lap down currently to Kuko and Thorndike. See how that plays. Not really a battle just yet. Jeremy Gills on Shane Wheeldon. This is for the 10th spot. And Kenny Kuko bringing it down pit road, and I know he's really hoping that he got it slowed down in time. Jim Thorndike also down pit road, and the majority of these guys just probably sighed a sigh of relief seeing those guys, or hearing that those guys were finally making their way down pit road. So that will get the majority of the field back on the lead lap and back rolling. Hopefully Marty White and Drafty Beef made up enough time there in that time to get back both laps. Let's actually take a look at Marty White and see where he's at in relation to those guys. We'll see if he comes around Kuko and Thorndike on the apron there below him. Not quite. You can see Kuko just at the top of our frame there before it cut to another camera. He was going into turn 3. So Zach White is your first car a lap down. Now Drafty Beef is in again. So Zach White will be your lucky dog should there be a caution of some sort. Marty White in the 69, your next car a lap down. Beef will be more than one lap down here. Rough go for him. And Latham Joyner has cycled back to the lead with a lead of 0.2 of a second on Dylan Canova, who is fairly close to him at the moment. We'll see if that builds into anything. Oh, and the caution is out. And man, this is, as long as Zach White wasn't involved, he's going to be awfully lucky there with that lucky dog. And the whole rest of the field probably going to enjoy that. I know most of our viewers will enjoy that. Get the field stacked up again. I'm not on Jeremy Gill for any particular reason. I just happen to be checking on him when the caution came out. It says Marty White here. Take a look at what happened to the 69 of White. Oh, and Presley just comes up the track just a little bit, and Marty goes around. And a little bit of contact there to the left front. And other than that, not a ton of contact. So we'll have to see how that plays for Marty White. Of course, he was a lap down, but with this caution, it will leave him the lucky dog, which is good, I would assume. Now, here's an interesting thing. The whole field is in. Drafty Beef still down pit road. I was going to say, he just pitted a lap before these guys. He could come around and get a lap back, but it doesn't appear that that's going to happen. Literally, the whole field was down here as we will watch most of them come off pit road. Lap 63 of 100. I'd have to bet this is probably get your set of tires and fuel now to go the distance here is the play. So ultimately, folks, this is probably going to be our final pit stop unless we should see another caution come out, which that's fine because we'll see some good hard racing at least through the middle of the pack. Kenny Kuko actually beat Canova off pit road, so he'll restart second. Christian Proctor still sitting fourth for now. Jacob Wilson back up into fifth. J.D. Van Kirk sits sixth. Nick Raffini is going to roll back off seventh. Jorge Ledesma Jr. having a good night so far. He sits 8th/9th potentially. Jim Thorndike lining up to his inside, it would appear, so that would be 8th. And Rob Higgs Jr. is going to be on the outside. He'll be 11th. Shane Wheeldon will line up 10th. Kelly Akron on the lead lap again. He'll be scored as 12th. Robbie Miner back on the lead lap, 13th. Zach White got the lucky dog. He's happy to see that, I'm sure. He is being scored 14th. Jeremy Gill will line up 15th. Marty White still down pit road. Drafty Beef did make his way back out, however, 4 laps down. Not what Beef was hoping for, I'm sure, especially with the strong run early. But pace lights are out on the pace car, and they'll dive down pit road, and Latham Joyner will take us back to green in the Geico restart zone once more. Could that be the last time we're under caution this evening? We'll have to see. Canova already getting past Kuko, as Kuko appears content right now to maybe fall in line if he can get a gap. But he won't. He'll have to stay on that top side as he blinks once again. Strong on that outside, especially with the 3 of Joyner pulling up. Now Kuko will pull back down. He will clear Jacob Wilson. Top 5 single file. 3 wide behind him. Raffini's on the inside. Around Proctor and Thorndike they go. Jorge Ledesma Jr. fancied a chance to the inside of Thorndike. He might still have an opportunity, but it wasn't right then. All single file now as Jorge Ledesma Jr. flirts with the inside of Raffini as Raffini looks to the outside of Thorndike. Such as the rest of the race, it's been great battling from 6th through 10th. Really nice driving from all of these guys. Shane Wheeldon is on the inside of the 19 of Akron. Marty White said 5 minutes of repairs. That's unfortunate, Marty. Sorry to hear that. Another caution, and who went around? Looks like for the time being, Jacob Wilson being scored your leader. Dylan Canova with an incident. Oh, let's rewind that just a little bit. They're spinning in sync there. I think we saw what happened, but we'll play it back. Canova touched the apron, comes up just a little bit. Maybe Joyner coming down, not quite sure. I'm not race control, not my call to make. And then it's a synchronized spin from the 70 and the 3. Unfortunately for Canova, he, I think, came down, and unfortunately for Kuko, we'll watch here and see what the damage may be. Latham Joyner was able to save it. Looks like everyone else, not a lot of damage there. That's fortunate for Canova, but also, of course, unfortunate is now he'll start near the rear of the field. Drafty Beef wants every caution possible right now because he just got a lap back due to Marty White being the only other car that would have been a lap down, but he was involved in the last incident. Jake Raven, where are you this evening? I just noticed you're not here. Yes, Dylan's aggressiveness got him again. Well, one fortunate thing is it may make it more exciting. If you missed it, the racing right here mid-pack between Raffini, Dylan, or Jorge Ledesma Jr., Rob Higgs, J.D. Van Kirk, and Jim Thorndike. Unreal tonight in a good way. It's been incredible racing right there in the middle of the pack. Hey, right on, man. Congrats on that, dude. That'll always make it more worth it. For sure. With the exception of that little incident there, Jake, the racing up front has been not extremely exciting. Kenny Kuko has worked his way up. He's up 11 to restart this second. Christian Proctor is up 8. He got up to the front of the field very early, was involved in an incident, started in the back and worked his way up in the green flag run all the way back up to 4th. And that's where he sits now. It's been extremely impressive driving by all of these guys, to be quite honest. Just want to get a little bit more exciting racing up front potentially. That would be nice. But nevertheless, on our 4th caution here, we'll start lap 72 as soon as Latham Joyner takes the green. And there it is. Kenny Kuko to his outside. He'll have an opportunity to drop down if he wants it this time. No pressure from Canova. And Kuko does drop down. Okay, Christian Proctor is on the inside, though. I'm sorry, that's reverse. Jacob Wilson made a move to the outside of Proctor. He'll get that move done for now. Proctor, I'm sure, is loving the fact that he can sit in 3rd/4th here, maybe save some tires, unlike the first long green flag run we had this evening. Jorge Ledesma Jr. got the pass done on Rob Higgs Jr. He's currently 6th, flirting with a top 5 right now. Let's keep an eye on that. They're 3 wide behind you briefly. Look out, the 53 of Miners around. And no caution yet, as he jumps straight to pit for the 2nd week in a row. Robbie Miner has to take a tow. Unfortunate for Miner and very unfortunate for Drafty Beef and whoever else may have been involved in that incident. I feel like there should have been a caution there. Nothing to do with a teammate of mine, but he was stopped on the racetrack. Of course, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to quote unquote get out of the car. No fault of his there. J.D. Van Kirk looks to the inside of the 59 of Jim Thorndike. Jeremy Gill battling with the 19 of Kelly Akron. Let's go back up here. Right behind him, in fact. Dylan Canova already back up to 7th. Rob Higgs Jr. trying to hold him off. We'll see if his aggressiveness bites him again, trying to work up through the field. We've seen that many times. Not just from him, but from someone else that used to be here that is not. 51 of Jacob Wilson looks to the inside of Christian Proctor now. Proctor stole third away from him. Nick Raffini having himself a really nice night. He's sitting fifth currently. Jorge Ledesma Jr. has himself a little breathing room. No side-by-side battles right now for Ledesma Jr. You can focus in and save tires just a bit. Now Nick Raffini pulling to the rear end of the 51. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that once the battling cools off. Canova just got around the 44, Ledesma Jr. He's moving up fast, but we've seen it time and time again. Will he have enough tire to make any moves? Of course, he'll be fine after starting at the rear end with a top 5, I'm sure. Let's go back and take a look real quick at this crash. Looks like the 53 was loose a little bit. 70 thought he was clear, it would appear. And then just decided to finish him off. So that's what happened there. As we're back to live action here. What do you think about that, Jake? Latham Joyner continues to lead the way. Canova now on the inside of Nick Raffini. Christian Proctor going to try to follow him back through and get by Raffini. Raffini falling back just a little bit. Back here. Meant to go there. Thorndike is on the inside of Rob Higgs Jr. This battle is for the 10 spot. Cools down just a little bit. Rob Higgs Jr. Thorndike gets by him. Jeremy Gill having a good rebound from the incident. He's currently sitting 8th. Top 5 all single file. Try to find some racing for you. In fact, top 6, top 7. All cooled off right here. 59 of Thorndike and the 14 of Rob Higgs Jr. Pretty decent battle still. We're now inside 20 to go here. As Jeremy Gill looks to battle the 59 of Thorndike back for the 8th spot. Thorndike in the 59 holds on to it for now. Best race on the Speedway. Woo! Close to making contact there. Kenny Kuko now being pressured by the 70 of Canova. That's where we're going to start to see if the 70 has saved enough tire after muscling his way up through the field. .44 of Jorge Ledesma Jr. will look to the inside of the 03 now. of Nick Raffini. This would be for the 6th spot. Jorge Ledesma Jr. was there just not long ago. Not going to be able to get it done. He will be pressured, though, by the 4 making his way up through the field. Jake Raven says a racing incident. "13 of Proctor's on the inside of the 51 of Jacob Wilson. Still battling now. This has been a really good battle. The majority of the race has Proctor and Wilson. Canova got past Kenny Kucko. Nick Raffini still battling. This would get him into the 4th spot. Oh, very close with the 59 of Jim Thorndike. They all hold it together. This is the type of racing in the middle of the field that's been fantastic all night long. Jeremy Gill up to 8th and now looking on the 13 of Christian Proctor. He might have some late speed for a potential top 5. He could get 3 passes done in a hurry here. You got to save those tires. We're now coming to 12 to go this time. Jeremy Gill there, 3 wide. Gill's on the inside. The 03 of Raffini's in the middle. The 13 of Proctor's on the top. Gill says, "I'll drop back in line," as does Raffini. Proctor holds on to it for now. That won't be the last time that battle heats up, I promise. J.D. Van Kirk looking to the inside just briefly on Rob Higgs Jr. That's been a battle all night long. Jacob Wilson continues to hold 4th for now. Jim Thorndike rounds out your top 5, but he's got a whole group of guys that would love to steal that from him. As Jeremy Gill now on the inside of the 03. 03 way up the speedway. Does Gill have enough? Now Rob Higgs Jr. in the 14 will throw his name in the hat. Gill not able to get it done. Raffini doing a good job of holding him off, being pressured every single corner. Jim Thorndike now on the inside of the 51 of Wilson. It looks like he's got good position. This would be for the 4 spot. Wilson battles back on the outside and tucks in. Proctor very close. They're all bumper to bumper here, all 4 of them. Thorndike's going to take another look to the inside to get around Wilson. Proctor looking to come with him. Good move by Jim Thorndike there. Gets himself into the top 5 for now. Proctor gonna pull off the old follow-through move, potentially. He's not gonna have quite enough steam, but he'll definitely look to the inside again going into 3. He also has Nick Raffini to deal with. Oh, and by the way, there's J.D. Van Kirk coming up now. They're 3 wide. Van Kirk's on the inside. Good run for the 03 and Proctor in the 13 though. Van Kirk making it interesting. This battle for 4th through 9th is unreal. take a moment here just to kind of watch it as Gill looks to the inside of the 03. Dylan Canova is cruising. My apologies. He passed Latham Joyner. Not sure where I was. I guess I was deep into that battle in the middle of the field that's been so good. Canova is nearly half a second out on Joyner now, as we're going to be 5 to go when Canova passes the line. 5 laps to go, folks. This one cruising by. All 4 cautions have been bundled together. They were 2 early and 2 midway. Nothing since then or in between. We'll keep an eye on that if Canova closes. It's 4/10 right now. This battle here, Jeremy Gill has got up to 7th. He got past Raffini. Van Kirk went past Raffini on the outside. Jacob Wilson now being pressured by Christian Proctor. Canova has expanded his lead on Joyner just slightly. Oh, is now Gill dives into the inside. He wants to get a chance, maybe the old 2-for-1. Can't hold it under the 13, but he'll be set up well to get past the 51 of Jacob Wilson. Not quite, though. Wilson battles back. Oh, look out! Jeremy Gill was loose. He saved it. That would have been a dramatic late caution. Canova's expanded the lead to 6/10 now on Joyner. They're back at it now. The 03 of Raffini battles back. A lot of room in the middle, but no one wanted to take it there. Now Gill electing to try to battle back on the outside. Try it that way. To get back his 7th spot. He will. Gonna have to make moves as now back up front. We're 2 to go. Canova brings us to 1 to go right now. Canova led a lot of laps early. Got passed by Joyner, and it looked like Joyner was gone. Canova even had to start at the rear of the field. Dylan Canova in the 70 will take the checkered flag and get win number 2 on the season in just 2 races. Back here, the battle cooled off considerably. J.D. Van Kirk squeezed by Jeremy Gill for the 7th spot. Latham Joyner finishes 2nd. Kenny Cooko finishes 3rd. Let's bring you the results here. The race results, that is. Dylan Canova once again got win number 2 on the early season in just 2 races. Latham Joyner gets 2nd place. Kenny Cooko finishes 3rd. Jim Thorndike finished 4th. Good run for Cooko eMotorsports. 3 out of your top 4. And Christian Proctor is down in mid-tier, so he rounds out your top 5 in the 13. Nick Raffini in the 03 finished in 6th. J.D. Van Kirk in the 22 brought home 7th. Jeremy Gill in the 4 finished 8th. Jacob Wilson in the 51 brought home 9th. And rounding out your top 10 is Jorge Ledesma Jr. in the 44. Rob Higgs Jr. finished 11th. Shane Wielden in 12th. Zach White 13th. Kelly Akron 14th. Timothy Presley battled back to finish 15th. Drafty Beef 16th, Marty White in 17th, and Robbie Miner, another struggle bus race for him to start the season. He finished in 18th after contact with the 70 of Canova. Let's keep those results on your screen. If we can maybe get it to work right. Let's get the number 11 of Kenny Coco in here to talk about his third place finish. Kenny, this is Joshua up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, sir.
Kenny, it's been a really, really long time since I've talked to you finishing with a podium, so this is pretty nice to see you battle back from some early issues and get up to the front and bring home third place. How's it feel for you?
Really good compared to where I've been lately. I think the last time we talked, I want to say it was season 2, like maybe the first couple of races. So it's been almost a full season. So been struggling, but it's hopefully we turned a corner. But real happy with the P3. I can't be more excited. And then of course the team finished 2, 3, 4, which is pretty sweet. And we had a clean race. Only 3 cautions, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm real proud of all the guys, and we made a huge step forward as a league with that. So I'm can't be more excited right now.
Yeah, it was definitely not many cautions. At times the racing wasn't extremely exciting at the front, but the racing all night from 5th through 9th, 5th through 10th was something to watch for sure. That was probably the best battling going on, but you mentioned it already, so you led me in. 2nd through 4th, that's a really, really strong finish for Coco eMotorsports. Night and day difference from last week, where 2 of the top dogs, you and Latham Joyner, finished in the rear due to some issues. But tell us what it means kind of now. Race 2, it's so early, but you get back on track early instead of having to worry about it down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, having a good finish after last week, I can forget about last week. Sure, 2 of us finished dead last and second to last, which is not good to start the season, but it's still early. I think we may jump a spot or 2 in the team points, which would be huge. We did not have Jake Raven tonight, so that kind of put us back a little, but it's still early in the season. We got 8 more to go after this. A lot can happen, especially with no fast repairs. All it takes is a couple other guys having bad races, which is possible. So it's good to get the momentum going instead of following it up with another like 15th on back finish 2 weeks in a row. So great to start the momentum going forward. It's huge for our team finishing 2, 3, and 4, like I said earlier, and hopefully we can keep that momentum forward. There's a lot on the line for the team championship this season, so definitely good to get that momentum going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mentioned in our pre-race show quite a bit different structure as well. So a win doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to get in. Of course, if you're someone like Canova winning 2 in a row, that doesn't hurt your chances.
No.
But yeah, a lot of things have to go right, and that's what's great about a playoff system or a battle to get in system. So looking forward to it down the stretch. Hoping for some exciting racing up front, of course. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out this evening?
I got to thank everyone at Kukoe Motorsports. We've been working really hard and trying to gain some speed. We got a great team in Lathan to really, he's very quick. So leaning on him's fun and great, and, learned quite a bit throughout the race. We talked quite a bit during the race. Shout out to all our sponsors that, help make this thing going. Big shout out to you for putting on the awesome broadcast for all our friends and family to watch. I've got to thank my mom over at Tricia's Learning Center for sponsoring the series and the season. But yeah, just really thankful for everyone we got. They make all this happen. And again, just real proud of the guys. We averaged about 10 cautions a race last season, and we only had 3 tonight. So really proud of everybody.
All right, man. Go enjoy this one. Good to see you back in top 3 and in the interview room. We'll talk to you
Appreciate
later.
you. Yep, 10-4. Thanks, Josh.
Yep. Once again, folks, that was the driver of the number 11, Kenny Cucko, who got his third place finish tonight, and his team got second, third, and fourth. So getting ready to talk to another one of them right now, and he's no stranger to us, and you guys are probably no stranger to him, and that's the number 3 number 3 car of Latham Joyner, bringing home the second place finish tonight. Latham, Joshua up in the booth. You hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
We saw you take over the lead there midway through or so from Dylan, and it appeared like you were gone. It was just going to be dominating. How much did that caution impact you, that last caution? Did that cost you the race, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily that one. I definitely say whenever we were on that long run, it would have been nice to see what would have happened. So towards the end of that first run, I know I started saving, and I think Dylan did as well. Saving gas, that is, because we needed to save about 5 laps between the 2 runs, and I had saved about 3, so I would have needed to save about 2 more laps while Dylan was right behind me, basically pushing me along. So the yellow that happened during the long run is really what changed the whole thing. And then obviously I was in front of Dylan. He hit the apron. We pretty much did a synchronized save. And then obviously he got finished off by Kenny. Of course, he didn't have time to react or anything. And honestly, that was the best thing for him. As obviously we can tell, he came down pit road, got tires, drove through the whole field, and won the race. And I was out there on those on the same tires we had restarted the time before from.
Yeah, we were wondering how big of a factor it would be. Of course, he basically was able to just pass anyone at will. There wasn't a lot of battling to hold him up per se or anything. Of course, we saw some contact with some guys that we're used to by now, but it is what it is, and he wins race 2, but this is definitely a good bounce back for you in race 2 and obviously for your team. So would you feel now after Daytona, obviously rough race for you and the team, much better performance tonight, much more what we're used to? Would you say it's all back on track now going into race 3 next week?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could tell we finished 2, 3, 4. That's very good. Obviously, if one of us could have won, it would have been even better. Obviously, yeah. Of course, I wrecked I was like the first one wrecked out at Daytona, and I was kind of just riding around but for fun. At that point, hoping other people would wreck out for as long as I did. So yeah, definitely back on the right track. Obviously, we get to tracks like this. Where the field can get spread apart like in those long runs. Whenever we start having green runs, that's what's really fun. Because it's kind of, you have me and Dylan up front. You have some people that fade. You have some people that come up through the field from saving tires. You have comers and goers. Whenever you get these short runs, it's just a mad dash. Who can get by each other and who hits each other out of the way almost.
Sure. Yeah. Well, another strong performance out of the 3 car, and good job getting back to the front this week, bouncing back after last week. Before we let you go, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I just want to thank Excalibur Racing Engines, Josh Evans, for doing everything he does for me, JER Cuts. Also, I just want to thank you for doing the broadcast. I want to thank Kenny for putting obviously all this on and letting me on his team. It's great to talk to those guys every week. Yeah, that's it.
Right on, man. Well, good job tonight, and we'll see you back out here next week.
Yes, sir.
Once again, folks, that was the driver of the number 3, Latham Joyner, bringing home second place tonight. And his season back on track. Kenny Cucko's as well, and that team's in general back on track. But now, let's get with your winner. His second race win of the row in a row. It's the 70 of Dylan Canova. Dylan, we saw you win last week by avoiding the chaos and the carnage late. Drove right through basically 4 or 5 cars there at the end to get that win. Then tonight you had to come back from your own little incident, drive through the field, and then ultimately ran away with it near the end there. What was the secret there?
What I messed up, and I don't know if I got the apron or collar bottom now, but it took off right on me, and I got in the Latham. So apologize to Latham for that one. But it kind of ended up being a blessing in disguise. We were able to come down and put fresh tires on it because we were in the back already, and everybody else stayed out. So had a handful of lap fresher tires, which really seemed to make the difference right there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, I mean, you couldn't have started your season any better. I alluded to it a little bit earlier. There's no lock-in and you're in type of situation, but obviously winning the first 2 races of the season is a big step to getting there. What does this mean now for you the rest of the way? You've already gotten off to literally as good a start as you can. Is it kind of just, hey, let's focus on playoff points now and be consistent, or are we going to see that type of aggression to get up and compete for every win this season potentially?
I mean, I think it's business as usual. Go out here and try and win as many races as we can. We were, we only got 2 last season. We were super close and a handful of others. So just trying to capitalize where we let some slip away last season and try and close the deal this year.
Fair enough. Well, before we let you go pop the champagne in Victory Lane for the second week in a row, anyone you'd like to thank or shout out for that 70 car?
Yeah, everybody over at Revved Up Racing. They got these Ford Mustangs rolling this year. You for putting on the broadcast, all the admins for giving us a place to race. Circle W Farms, Fords by Dennis, Victory Fuel, the No Names. The list goes on. Can't thank enough people out here for giving us a chance to do this, and everybody here that shows up gives us a place to race and some competitors to race.
Right on, man. Well, congratulations again on the big win. You're definitely making big moves for yourself and making big moves for your team. So good job there, and we'll see you back out here next week. Go enjoy this one.
Yep, thanks, sir.
Yeah. Once again, folks, that was your winner for the second week in a row, the 70 of Dylan Canova. It was a good race. It was a clean race. And then we got a late pass there down the stretch by Canova and, on Joyner. Unfortunately, I was focused so intently on the racing in the middle of the pack that we missed it because it happened so quickly. And no excuses as a broadcaster there, but then he ran off with it. And quite frankly, the more exciting racing more consistently was, of course, where we were in the field. So that's okay. You miss some. None of us are perfect, but Dylan Canova walks it off in dominating fashion ultimately in the end there. But fantastic racing, like I said, from all these guys mid-pack, even further in the back this evening, and hoping to see a lot of that as we go forward this season on to our next races. And let's see, need a little bit of a reminder from myself. We go from here to Phoenix Raceway next week, so that is going to be an interesting one. We will be back there, or back right here on Royalty Racing Network next Tuesday. We're also going to be back tomorrow night for the SCSRA Dev Sports Cards Next Gen Series right here on Royalty Racing Network. That's going to be a fun one. And so make sure you tune in to see that. But before we let you go, we'd like to thank our great sponsors here at Top Tier Racing and Royalty Racing Network. First and foremost, the title sponsor of the Top Tier Gen 6 Series, Tricia's Learning Center. Tricia and her staff dedicating their life caring for children from 0 to 12 years old since 1992. From daycare to pre-K to an after-school program for the older kids, they do it all. Thank you to all of you great folks at Tricia's Learning Center for what you do every day, and thank you for being the proud title sponsor of Top Tier Racing Gen 6 Series this season. And Majestic Promotional and Branded Apparel, whether you run a company, government agency, a sports team, or even a virtual race team. Turn every item into a statement with Majestic Promotional and Branded Apparel. Comment for details or find me on Discord. We'll get you connected. And finally, SM Racing Products. Take your sim racing experience to the next level with custom-made button boxes, dashboards, flag lights, and more with SM Racing Products. Check out their Black Friday specials. Black Friday specials. I'm just reading along of an old note I got here. That's pretty funny. Been a long day, folks. Check out their deals, happening right now at sm-racingproducts.com. And, of course, as always, mention or enter code royalty at checkout on your purchase of over $150 to save 20%. That is a sweet deal. But for Top Tier Racing, Tricia's Learning Center, myself, Joshua King, and everyone else at Royalty Racing Network, I'd like to say thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the race and the broadcast. We'll see